Hey there, Boozemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and they don't look like Presbyterians to me. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my cuz-host.
I'm Leslie, and I'm on my way to New York to try and break into public television. That was a terrible Big Bird, but we did it.
Accuracy doesn't matter. What matters is that we're talking about the Muppet Movie, guys, and I couldn't be happier about it. I'm so excited. Let me tell you how we got here, because I like people to see how the sausage gets made a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So we're doing this in conjunction with season 2, episode 6. I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, season 2, episode 6, Pass Not Pass. And this is the episode where Brenda and Andrea are on stage in the acting class and they're fighting over Mr. Suitor. And Brenda straight up slaps Andrea live and in person.
Which you shouldn't do, Cheesemeisters. Never.
And here's the great thing about this. Now that we've figured our shit out a little bit and we're releasing the companion episode the same week as the episode it's in reference to, you guys understand what you just listened to with Pass Not Pass and the slapping and the Leslie of it all. And I mean, it was a lot going on Wednesday. So we were gonna watch The Turning Point, which is the movie that Brenda and Andrea's scene comes from.
Yes.
And you were able to watch it.
Somehow, my technology was better than yours this one time.
Yeah, and so you sent me the link because it's not anywhere normal.
No.
And I tried to click on it, and it's just one of those sons of bitches that just pop up after pop up and nothing happens. And so I'm like, well, I mean, this isn't going to work because if I put in this much effort to watch it, I'm going to be a grumpy fucker. And the entire conversation that follows is going to be how irritated I was at the prospect of watching this movie. So
I do want you to watch it at some point, though, just because I need to know your opinion of it now.
I'd like to see it. What I'll probably do is plunk down the $8.95 for the DVD of eBay that I found.
There you go.
Eventually, but I don't know. Whenever you order stuff from eBay, it's coming from one of the countries too remote to even listen to our podcast. So ooh. I know. I mean, choose any of them because there are a lot that do, but there are a few that don't, and it could be any of them. And it's coming from there, which means it takes about 7.5 months. So I'll watch it when I get around to it. But so we were talking, okay, what else happens in this episode that something we could connect to, right? And I threw out there used cars because Brandon buys his car and it's a lemon and there's a whole thing. And I was like, well, there are some good movies with used car salesmen in them. There's Breaking Away, which I mean, we both should have an affinity for because it's set in and filmed in Bloomington. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Oh, I have. Okay.
So Paul Dooley, everyone's favorite movie dad from the 80s, he plays his job is used car salesman, and he has that wonderful refund scene, which is worth, like, the entire movie is worth it if that's the only scene you see. It's so funny. And I suggested Fargo, right? Because Jerry Lundegaard is a used car salesman. And then I thought, oh shit, you know what? There's a fantastic used car scene in the Muppet Movie that happens to feature Milton Berle, who is a spelling connection. He's in a season 5 episode that we'll get to when we get to it, because right now we're in season 2.
Yes.
And so we went back and forth on it for a little bit, which one we're going to watch. And I love the Muppet Movie deep down in my heart. But I thought, you know what, there's probably more to dig into with Fargo, because Coen brothers layer shit on top of shit, and it's always interesting, and it's probably, I think there's a lot of meat on that bone, and I love Fargo.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but you were like, well, let's watch the Muppet Movie. And I was like, okay, let's do that, especially because I am so brain dead that I can't think of a reason not to. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't think of a counter argument. I was like, fuck, let's do it.
Caught you at the right time.
Yeah, it's perfect. And so a couple hours later, I get this text that says, in effect, 10 minutes in, I'm really liking this. And I went, what the fuck? You haven't seen this? And here's the thing about that. I know that this happens like every episode.
I know.
I'm floored that there's something you haven't seen. And I never, ever want to lose that surprise.
I don't either.
I always want to feel totally fucking flummoxed that you haven't seen XYZ that I assume that literally everyone on the planet has seen. And you have not seen the Muppet Movie. And I was so happy because we get to experience you seeing the Muppet Movie for the first time. And that is magic.
It is magic.
It's so wonderful. Did you ever see the show Freaks and Geeks?
I finally did a few months ago.
Oh, okay, great. So you remember the episode towards the end where, is her name Linda Carlini's character?
Oh God, I think so, but I've only watched it once through.
Yeah. Anyway, where she's being turned on to the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
And somebody gives her the album American Beauty. I can't remember which of the characters did. And said to her, I wish I was you right now to be able to hear this for the first time.
Yep.
And that's what I felt like when I'm like, Leslie's watching the Muppet Movie for the first time in her whole life. This is so amazing.
It was the antidepressant that I needed.
I had the same kind of experience with it this morning because work is just stressful right now. There's just a lot going on. Aww. And it's really nice to turn this on and see that helicopter shot of the swamp and the rainbow and this movie opens, my heart grew 3 sizes today. Like this movie is like Grinch killer.
Yeah. Look, I likened the beginning of it to, I described it to Walter. I said, no other movie has opened like this since The Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's not true. Other movies do have, I mean, that's the whole plot of a musical is they have an opening number. But like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be musical or not. I'm semi-familiar with the Muppets. Like, I grew up watching the cartoon and things, but like, I would not say that I know it as well as other people do. So,
sure.
You know, anyway, but yeah, that started and I went, oh my God, I feel like I'm about to see Maria twirling on the mountain. And I did it. I saw a frog in a swamp just living his best life.
Yes, with Bernie the agent and Arnie the alligator.
Yeah, nonplussed about the alligator. Like, leave him alone. He's from Hollywood.
That's right. Yeah, leave him alone. He's from Hollywood. He's okay. And that opening scene, it just sets the tone for what this movie is, which is
you're gonna feel things.
You'll feel things. It is musical, and the music is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It is hopeful, and it is full of gags.
Oh my God.
Gags and guest stars and cameos. Like Dom DeLuise, also a 90210 connection, by the way. He's in a later season episode.
Oh.
Yeah. But guest stars, gags, feelings, songs. Like this, like you're teed up, for what this is. But here's something. That's not how the movie starts. The movie starts with Stetler and Waldorf pulling up to the movie studio to go to a screening to heckle the Muppet Movie.
Yes.
And this is why I'm not as big into the newer Muppet stuff. I just haven't felt that much of it worked all that well. Not as well as this does, and as
No.
the Muppet Caper does, and the Muppet Show itself. And I think it's because of the meta nature of the Muppets. Because the Muppets is the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, the Muppet Show is a front of the house, back of the house variety show, like a vaudeville show, where you're not only getting to see the acts, you're getting to see the story, like the things that are happening behind the scenes. You're getting to interact with the audience, and there's a new guest star every week, and it's fucking puppets.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And like weird ass looking puppets. Like,
right.
You look at some of them and you think, how were you thought of?
Right. I mean, Gonzo's a bit like a turkey. I mean, a little bit, not a lot, but a little.
Like all nuts.
Yeah, an Animal, I'm pretty sure, is supposed to be John Bonham.
What?
So, yeah, based all of Dr. Teeth is based off of real musicians. Like Dr. Teeth is Elton John, and
I figured that.
Yeah, and Janis is Janis Joplin, I think. Floyd is, I'm pretty sure, Tom Petty.
Okay.
And I'm not sure who Zoot is.
I love Zoot.
I know, Sax is his axe. But what this movie is, I wrote down what this is, okay? Because it's weird if you read it out loud. All right. It's a movie about watching a movie about your origin that you made, whose climax is when you started to make the movie that you're watching right now.
It's so crazy.
The final act of which begins when some of the characters read the script and know where they have to go to save the day.
Oh.
That is a weird movie.
And yet it works.
It folds in and around on itself. And the last scene of it is a character from the movie that busts through the screen, interrupting the screening.
Yep.
It's so weird. And that's why it works. Because you don't even notice how weird it is. But it's just so wrapped up on top of itself that you're like, I'll ride with whatever is happening in this crazy movie where frogs ride bicycles.
Oh my God. It is so weird looking watching him ride a bike.
Right. But it's magic too. Like,
oh yeah.
I've seen it so many times and I watch it trying to get my head around how they did it. You know?
The whole time. Like, I've only recently, I forget what Sesame Street doc or something I was watching, but like when you see how many people are hunched below, these are my favorite actors now.
It's amazing. And the crazy thing,
astonishing to me.
And those bicycle shots, they're long shots, they're wide shots. You can see the whole puppet. There's nobody there.
No.
So they're moving the bike with his feet stapled to the pedals. You know, like that's what's happening there.
Yeah.
But the head is turning and he's looking at things. And somehow all of that motion is happening and you don't see any of the pieces. You just see a frog puppet riding a bicycle. And in the second movie, there's a scene where there's like 40 of them riding bikes.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. I mean, at that point, it's just fucking showing off.
The amount of facial expressions these masters are able to make on... I don't even know what they're made out of, but I was just astonished. I was like, how am I feeling so much from this inanimate object staring at me?
Yeah, because it's not inanimate. Kermit is fully alive.
I want to act with character. Puppets.
I mean, the performers behind the Muppets are amazing. And the voice work is fantastic. And it's it's in service of phenomenal material.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the jokes are so funny. I still quote this movie almost all the time. Anyone who tells me they're lost, I ask them if they've tried Hare Krishna. Still. This movie is from by the way, we're talking about the 1979, and I'm just going to straight fucking say it, masterpiece. The Muppet Movie. Starring Kermit and Fozzie and Gonzo and Piggy and Ralph and a million cameos. That's what movie we're talking about 16 minutes in. And I lost where I was going because I just introed the movie. But, it's so funny. Like, the jokes kill. Like, the myth, yes. That's so stupid. It's such a silly joke. Drinks on the house.
Oh my God.
Like, and, like, multiple running gags throughout the movie. Every famous person in 1979, seemingly, is in this movie. And not only is it funny with great music, and God, the music is good.
Yeah.
The movie itself, it takes your heart out of your chest and it rubs it gently and it puts it back in.
Yeah. Like, it's so sweet.
It's so sweet, and the message is wonderful, and like, it just hits me right in the heart almost every time I watch it. And I've trained my wife and my son that whenever I say bear left, they say right frog. It's such a silly joke, and I love it so much.
Oh my God.
And this movie is still a part of my almost daily life. and I first saw it, I don't know if I saw it in I do have a story about seeing this in the theater, but we'll come back to that later. I saw this movie when I was 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. I've already told Walter when he gets back, we're having a Muppet marathon because he hasn't seen this, and he hasn't seen a lot of them. And I'm like, we just need to watch all of them because, like, if I enjoy these dumbass jokes, and they're not dumb, but, like, if they were done wrong, they would be dumb. But they're done so well.
Yeah, they're just old vaudeville gags.
So he'll love it. Like, because I was taking a sip when they did the whole drinks on the house, and I didn't do a spit take, but I was very close. And I held my head like I do, and I went, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's so funny. You think this crowd is ugly? You should see the dancing girls. I mean, it's like, it's one thing after another. And, like, just, Look
at these girls. Look at these chickens. No, I'm sorry. Fucking love that chicken.
Well, sure, Camilla. Yeah, Camilla's great. She's the sexiest chicken you'll ever see. Come on. Gonzo is head over heels in love with Camilla.
I don't think I knew that he had a relationship with the chicken, but I ship them more than Kermit and Piggy.
Right. Yeah. It's the whole, like, when they pick up Gonzo and he inexplicably has, you call that a miss? Like, he's upside down and then he's in the backseat hopping up and down. And they're like, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm hopping mad.
Yep.
And Fozzie,
picked up a weird one.
We picked up a weirdo.
Yeah.
All the time. It's just one goofy thing after another. But then, like, Gonzo ends up buying all of the balloons and flying. And it's beautiful.
Yes.
And they're being chased by Frog Legs Colonel Sanders.
Oh my gosh. I know.
Like, and he's such a... Charles Durning is so good. He's such a great bad guy. And you just, like... Hopper, what is wrong with you? Like, the whole movie. Like, you completely agree with the only thing Kermit says to him in that ghost town. Hopper, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this to me?
It's all so pure.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, because, I was thinking, how is this possibly going to end?
Right.
And all of a sudden, when Animal pops up from the building, because all the Muppets are about to get shot by Hopper and his henchmen, and then Animal pops up, and I went, "Oh, this is amazing." Okay, because I thought, I know they're not going to kill them, but like, what are you going to do? They didn't listen.
It was a 4-foot prune. But the effects are sadly temporary.
I know, I love Beaker too.
I know.
Beaker used to be my favorite, but Camilla might be my favorite now.
Camilla's pretty great.
She's so great.
I was always a big Gonzo fan.
Yeah.
I like the weirdness of Gonzo. The going to Bombay, India to become a movie star.
Oh my god. Yes.
Sure, if you want to do it the easy way.
Yeah.
I use that all the time too. Like if anyone's doing something even remotely difficult, I will talk about going to Bombay, India to become a movie star. Like there's an easier way to do this thing you're doing, you know?
Oh my god.
So yeah, though this movie lives in my lexicon. It's a constant companion in my brain.
I can't wait for it to be a constant in my brain.
And you're gonna, if you liked this, you're gonna, if you have an appetite for this but weirder, The Great Muppet Caper is the funniest movie ever made.
I mean, seriously, we're gonna have a Muppet marathon over here.
You need to, and
we need it after the month we've had.
No shit. Those are the two best ones. There are a lot of people who ride hard for Christmas Carol. I was older when that came out, so it didn't hit me the same way. People really love that, though.
I do love that one. I know the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I did really like the one that came out a few years ago with Amy Adams and Jason Segel, but like I get it's so different. They came through with the songs. Like they made sure the music was solid. And they had solid people, but like, you know, I think I even asked you this. Like, I don't know why it's harder to make it work nowadays. I don't know if it's because we're more cynical or just...
To be honest, I think, because I was thinking about this, and I don't know, part of it is Jim Henson died a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so anything after The Muppets Take Manhattan is a different beast. You know, and it by nature. And some of it, I think, is how deeply weird the whole Muppets thing is. And it has to be, in order to work, it has to thread the tiniest of needles. And this movie, the Muppet Show, The Great Muppet Caper, they thread that needle in ways that doesn't seem possible. Like a frog puppet riding a bicycle.
You know, and I feel like it's really just of its time, because as I was watching it, and like again with the Hare Krishna jokes, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely from the 70s.
Yeah.
And like the mood that Jim Henson clearly wants to give through the Muppets feels so of that time.
Yeah.
Like, and sure, people would want to be rude and, you know, rejecting of like hippie culture and all of that, but like I think this is what it was really about, you know, like going where you feel called, like, oh, I could make other people happy, like that would be really cool. Like,
yeah, it's a dream that gets better the more people you share it with. Yeah. No, this is the ethos I grew up with. You know, like this and Mr. Rogers, and, you know, just that. I mean, at least it's the idea that I got from television. You know what I mean?
Like if we were just nice to each other, if we just talked to each other.
But also pursue your dreams.
Yeah.
You know, and share your dreams. And, you know, make other people happy. Like that, what a wonderful message that this movie has. And I'm touched by it all the way through.
Yeah.
But I had a thought while I was watching it this time, and I want to run it by you.
Okay.
Because it's a movie full of cameos, right?
Yeah.
The cameos are great and silly, and Edgar Bergen, and I guess his last appearance.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was a better ventriloquist when he was younger, but I mean, his mouth moves as much as mine moves when Charlie
Yeah.
is talking. And my favorite part about Edgar Bergen is he was a ventriloquist on a radio show.
Yeah.
Which is either really stupid or Muppets level meta.
Maybe.
Like the joke is that this is a ridiculous thing to do. You know, haha, I'm a ventriloquist on the radio.
I was super proud for getting that reference because, like, I have seen Fun and Fancy Free, and which was like a mini doc / combo of like Mickey Mouse and the Beanstalk combined with Edgar Bergen and all of his. It's a weird movie. I don't understand it, but I loved it as a kid. I was like, I don't know what this movie is. This is equal parts cartoon, learning about this man who like is a ventriloquist. This is nuts.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
So before I ask you this question, let me just say that if you're ever playing the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game and someone gives you an old actor, the Muppet Movie is your linchpin.
Got it.
Because Steve Martin is in this, and Kevin Bacon is in the opening scene of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He's the guy he's racing across the street for the cab.
Okay.
So if you ever need to get to Kevin Bacon from an old movie, go through the Muppet Movie. Like, grab hold of Bob Hope and ride your way to the Muppet Movie.
Will do.
So, were there cameos that you didn't know who they were?
Yes, because they were so quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't tell who the myth lady was.
Oh, I think it is Carol. Hold on, I have to look up her last name. I'm totally Carol. No, Carol Spinney is Big Bird.
Oh yeah,
different person. So hold on.
But I recognized Madeline Kahn.
Carol Kane is her last name. Kane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know her.
Yeah, so you got Madeline Kahn.
I got Madeline Kahn. I got Dom DeLuise, but it took me a minute because I was like, I know this guy.
Yeah.
Is it this guy? Is it this guy? I think it's this guy. Edgar Bergen, Steve Martin. I was thrilled, and especially with like, I don't know why. Like, Steve Martin is great at any age, but it's just really delightful to like see him in his younger stuff.
Would it surprise you?
He's so angry.
Would it surprise you that literally every time I open a bottle of wine, I walk over to Laura and say, "Would you like to smell the bottle cap?" Because it's every time. It's every bottle of wine. Sparkling Muscatel, one of the finest wines of Idaho.
Oh, did you bring straws?
I expected that.
Like, he's so annoyed for no reason.
He is. His character name, if you look in the credits, is Insolent Waiter.
Okay, it shouldn't surprise you either that I want his outfit. Like, I would wear that on the streets of New York, and no one would bat an eye.
No, of course not. So, all right. So, was there anybody who you're like, I know that's a person, but I don't know who it is?
Oh, the hitman for Kermit. Who's that supposed to be?
I had to look that guy up, but he was just an actor who was in things like Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was just a guy known for playing that guy.
I'm sure there were other people, because again, like, every human, every live actor.
Yeah. I mean, it's Edgar Bergen, it's Milton Berle as Madman Mooney, it's Mel Brooks giving the electronic
Yeah. I didn't recognize Milton Berle. That's who I didn't remember.
Okay.
And now that you've told me that story and I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's the same guy?
Just enough to win.
Jesus.
Uncle fucking Milty. That's right.
Go Milton Berle. Go comedians.
I know, right? And then Elliot Gould, Bob Hope.
Yes, Elliot Gould.
Yeah. And then Cloris Leachman, Richard Pryor, Telly Savalas, Orson Welles.
Oh, yeah. I was proud of myself for getting that one, too. Although in my head, I first said Herman B. Wells.
That's awesome. Go Hoosiers.
It was like, no, different big guy.
Different Wells. Yeah.
Different Wells. Different spelling.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, the Orson Welles reveal is so good. And
yeah.
It turns around and it's goddamn Orson Welles. But here's the thing that I wanted to ask you about the cameos. Because, and I'd never thought about it before this viewing. But, you know, at the beginning when Kermit is, after he tells, you know, the guy that he's not going to have his boomerang fish in the movie, he sits down. But I tried to save you a seat and somebody took it. Come on. Like, what a great joke. It's so dumb. I mean, do you know how many times if someone said I won't be able to live with myself, I've said, well, then you'll have to get another apartment. Every time. It's a gag a minute in this movie. But Kermit sits down and his nephew Robin asks him, is this really, this is a story about how the Muppets really got started? And he says, well, it's sort of approximately how it happened.
Yeah.
And so here's what I wonder. With that piece of information in mind, is the fact that there are celebrity cameos in this just Kermit bullshitting his way through this story? Like, if I was telling you the story about how I moved to Hollywood, and I was like, well, look, Fozzie and I, we have been partners pretty much from day one. And, like, we glommed on to Gonzo, who's a total crazy person. Like, he had these chicks hanging with him, and, like, he wanted to be a movie star. And then, I mean, Piggy was a lot, like right from the start. But it was love at first sight, and that, honest to God, she can kick ass. Okay, and like we met all these people, and then we went to and then we stopped at a used car lot, and you know who sold me the car? Milton Berle. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's who did it. All right, and then you know who sold Fozzie ice cream? Bob Hope. And so, like, the story gets embellished along the way. So the cameos aren't just like, haha, look at this famous person from 1979, but they're actually an indication that the story that you're being told is exaggerated from the perspective of the person who is building his own mythology in the eyes of his younger, not his offspring, but his nephew.
Yeah. Maybe. I kind of like the idea, too, that Kermit is just the most likable actor in Hollywood. And, you know, we see the movie kind of fall apart when they first start filming. So I just imagine Kermit going around like, okay, guys, we're gonna need a little extra help. And then, like, enlisting all these actors, like, and getting them to help him so that he can draw people in.
That's amazing. I love that idea. Here, one step further. He reaches out to people who had been hosts of the Muppet Show because they had a pre-existing showbiz relationship.
Yeah.
Steve Martin hosted the Muppet Show. I think Madeline Kahn did. Probably Bob Hope did. Like, so he reached out to people he knew who had come on his TV show and was like, guys, I really need a hand.
I need a hand.
I'll come in and I'll do it for scale, you know, whatever. Just pay my day rate, you know, and you know, I'll run a car dealership. Wait, you want me to paddle my boat in a swamp? I mean, okay, I'll do it for you, Kermit. Anything.
With a real alligator.
Yeah, Arnie.
Yeah.
With that tongue, no way. It's one fucking line after another. It's so amazing.
Oh my God. I love it. I miss Jim Henson.
I know. This movie is wonderful. Okay. So this might be the challenge of the century.
Oh, I know, and I'm ready.
Okay, good. Let's have some adventures in intimacy with Muppets. And try not to focus on sticking your hand up somebody's ass.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it. This is the best intimacy choreography I've ever seen.
Oh.
In
Okay,
a film.
please explain.
I'm going to go with the obvious one because, like, during the song Never Before, and I should have watched it again right before we did this, but I'm just, they actually, they actually have Miss Piggy and Kermit have this moment where, like, I think she lies down, and then you just see a hand go up and pull Kermit towards her. And I thought, I was not expecting this. I knew there'd be something between Kermit and Piggy. Because, like, before I even...
Boom!
Yeah, am I hitting it? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. You can't see me visually doing my Donkey Kong impressions. I have to say it out loud.
It's so light that I was doing it, too. Wow. I'm sorry, Cheesemeisters. No. But yeah, and, like, because I was thinking, too, would you need intimacy people? I mean, sure, they'd be helpful with, like, conversations, but these people, like, clearly took the time to discuss what they were going to have the Muppets do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's incredible to me. There was also... I really wish I had watched it again, but it was just beautiful.
And that, like, when I was a kid, that's my least favorite part of the movie. Because it's like a slow song, it's a love song, it's all these weird little, like, vignettes, these Hollywood throwback things. As an adult, I love it. It's so fun. But it wasn't for 5-year-old me. 5-year-old me wanted moving right along.
And you're right, it is totally ridiculous, all the past references. But yeah, then near the end of the song is when it gets heated, and it's like, oh!
Right.
Like, and, very subtle. It's still a kid's movie. They're not going to notice. But it was just hysterical the way they showed these Muppets getting close and falling in love, and the lightest of touches. Like, I watched it and I went, this is brilliant. I want to do this.
I like the opening of the song where they're in the meadow and they're running towards each other with their arms open.
Yes.
And when they meet, Piggy just runs him over. Like, they just keep going Piggy's direction. And Kermit is looking in the camera like, oh no, I can't stop this train. Like,
exactly.
Just bowled over physically by Piggy.
Absolutely beautiful.
It encapsulates their relationship,
Yeah, it was fantastic. This is my new favorite intimacy ever to be filmed. Well done, puppeteers.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's amazing what they can pull off, and in this medium, this art form is so specific and weird, and they do the Lord's work with it. I mean, my Lord.
And, like, here's the thing too, because for them, what they were all doing in choreograph. I mean, they had to choreograph that. They're like, okay, so and so, you have to put your hand up here to put Piggy's hand there, and then we got to make sure that this hand pulls down Kermit. Like, that's basically what we're trying to do, people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it was not just as, I'm sure there was a level of weirdness for them too, but, like, it got to mostly be fun and funny, I'm sure. And, like, that's what it can be with humans too.
Well, awesome. I'm so glad.
I'm saying.
Adventures in Intimacy in the Muppet Movie is wonderful.
Hell yeah.
All right. So join hands with me and let's run through Needle Drop Forest. What we should do for this week is, because there's this song is like a Kendall Roy birthday party. It's all bangers. So you choose a song and tell me why you chose that song, and then I will choose a different song because I could literally choose any of the songs.
I'm gonna stick with the most well-known one and do Rainbow Connection.
Mm, okay. Tell me why that song's amazing.
I Okay, so I'm struggling to come up with words in on how to describe the amazing quality of this song because I feel like it's turning rainbow songs on their head. Like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of says, "Yeah, I see you over the rainbow. Shut up."
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which ballsy, bold
Right.
move, but it's ultimately a song about like all of this stuff is illusion, but at the same time, like it's really cool that it brings us together, but maybe someday something more tangible will bring us together. I don't know if that's wrong or right. I'm still trying to figure out what the song means to me, but like it is so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful and sweet. And
Yeah.
it's all I can say is that it moves me
Mm-hmm.
and I will be analyzing it for a while.
It's it. I think the somewhere over the rainbow thing is kind of important because the Muppets are connecting themselves to old Hollywood.
Mhm.
They're connecting themselves to the history of Hollywood. I mean, the movie is a love letter to movies, and in a, kind of the same way that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a love letter to '60s TV shows. Like
Mhm.
this is a love letter to old movies. It's got old movie stars in it, and it in the opening of the movie, it harkens back to previous musicals and this idea of the like what you're searching for is somewhere over the rainbow, you know. Um, but what Kermit is looking for is the connection that the rainbow brings,
Yeah.
and we're connected to from Kansas to Oz because of the rainbow, and we're connected to each other because of these stories, because of the lovers, the dreamers, and me. You know,
Well, and like, what does she gain from being in Oz the most? But she makes friends. They're all just going to
yeah.
they're all going to get something, but they find something along the way. And like, oh my God, I just realized as you were explaining this, like, it hits so hard with how I've been feeling lately. Cause, like,
Mm,
I'm in the city I'm supposed to be pursuing my dreams in, but I am so lonely. And
mm,
all I want is to be surrounded by friends.
yeah.
And, like, thanks to technology, I can talk to people whenever, but like, all I want is is to be able to hop over to a friend's place whenever,
Hmm.
see my people from back home. And again, I need teleportation to exist,
Right.
but yeah, this song really hits on like what is going to end up mattering most in all of
Yeah.
it.
And and it wasn't until like we were just talking about it right now, but this movie is The Wizard of Oz.
Mm. Yeah.
He's traveling the yellow brick road to Hollywood. He picks up these friends along the way, these animals, right?
Yeah.
They're all going with him. They get into Oz's chamber, and when Oz turns around, instead of it being hokum, it's please write up the standard rich and famous contract for Kermit the Frog and friends.
Yep.
Like they take their journey, they find their family, they pursue their dreams, and when they get there, the wizard isn't an asshole.
Yeah. It's so
And
nice.
it's so great. And like, yeah, you're being chased by the Wicked Witch or, Doc Hopper. Like there's a challenge out there that you have to overcome along the way, and you do that with your friends. You can't run from a bully your whole life, so sometimes you have to turn around and stand up, and Kermit does.
Mhm.
And because his friends are who they are, Animal eats a whole bunch of Instagrow pills. Like, of course he does. Like, is there anything else Animal would do when presented with a big jar of something to eat?
I was
No.
going to say I think Animal is just insatiable.
Yes. In all ways. Woman! Woman!
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I was a big Animal head as a kid too. Animal's so funny. He's
Animal is
just
geared to kids.
he really is. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that Rainbow Connection is it's just beautiful, and it when I get to the end of the movie, it makes me want to go back to the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and there are like moving right along. I love like it's such a fun song, and can you picture that with the Electric Mayhem when they're painting the Studebaker? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know how to thank you guys. I don't know why to thank you guys. Like I love that song. It's so weird. Like the lyrics are silly and goofy, and but I think the needle drop I want to talk about is Gonzo's song in the desert.
Yep.
Uh, I'm going to go back there someday. Is I I'm tearing up just saying the name of the song
Mm.
because it's so longing.
Yeah.
It's like there's something about that line. There's not a word yet for old friends who just met
I
that
know.
stabs me in the heart. Like I love that feeling of connection is so strong in that lyric.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been there, but I know the way. I'm going to go back
Yeah.
there someday. Like there's just it's aspirational about being who you are where you're supposed to be with the people you're supposed to be with.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kermit goes off and has a wonderful soul searching monologue with another Kermit.
Yep.
And it's the sweetest thing where he's defensive and then in talking to himself he comes to the realization that I did promise somebody. I promised me.
Yeah.
And I can't even talk now.
Oh.
Like, like that is so beautiful that he felt a dream that he had to chase. And the purity of the dream and the purity of the chase brought others with him.
Mm.
And they don't make it without all of them, right? They don't make it unless they give Dr. Teeth the script for the movie. Just
Yep.
fucking silly, and I love it so much. They
See,
don't, yeah, they
I
don't
need my
make
Muppets
it.
with me.
We all do. We all need our Muppets. And like and they don't make it unless Animal grows to be gigantic and scares off Doc Hopper. And it's they go in together to audition.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
Kermit
that's
does
so sweet.
and if they don't all shake their dander, Cloris Leachman doesn't sneeze. Which, by the way, that is an act of terrorism. What they did to her, that poor lady's allergies. That is fucked up,
Knew you
Fozzie.
were triggered.
That is not okay. You don't do that to somebody who's going to sneeze. Mm. So, I love every piece of music in this is like either a toe tapper or a heart grabber. Like the whole way through.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, beautiful.
yep, I love this movie so great.
It is
So,
great.
is what stands out to you thematically about this movie? What is it that strikes the deepest chord with you?
I mean, and because this is a hard one to grasp, but it's so true. Like, it's not about it's not about where you end up. It's about who you end up there with or who you meet along the way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that's difficult because, we put these themes out here and yet we're still harping on people to be successful in some cookie cutter way.
Right.
And it's so damaging.
Yeah.
Like, it's so damn damaging.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I love stories about friendship. I love that is my favorite romance, is friendship.
Mm. Yeah.
My yeah.
It's this chosen family.
Yes.
It's that, that at the heart of it is what this is. It's about a family coming together, and a family that chooses each other, even when they do it like Piggy does, which is constantly taking calls from her agent.
There's always one questionable,
Yeah.
slightly toxic. Like, Piggy's just got a lot of work to do on herself. Like, she has a lot of good qualities, but she also has a lot of not so great qualities.
Yeah, but she can kick some ass.
I'm just glad she's not the only woman Muppet.
No, there's Camilla, and there's Janice, and
Janice.
Yep.
A lot of non-binary Muppets.
Yeah. I mean, nobody knows what Gonzo is.
Yeah, Gonzo's Gonzo.
Yeah, Gonzo likes fucking chickens. So, just saying. I love the Richard Pryor balloon salesman interaction.
Yeah.
He's like, some fellas come in here and they buy a whole bunch of balloons for their girls and they go gaga for it. Gaga, gaga, he upsells Gonzo an entire thing of balloons.
I know.
It's so silly, but it's great. I think the theme that strikes most for me is the idea of following your dreams and sharing it with other people. It is, that's what's joyous. When you've got to, don't feel ashamed of that thing that you really want to do. Go do that thing and tell everybody about it. And not in a promotional way. In a, I'm having so much fun with this. Please come have fun with me. This is wonderful. Come along. And in a very small way, that's what this podcast and the Peach Pod is for me.
Yep, it's true.
Come join us in this ridiculousness that we're embarking on, because it's fun. Because we're having a good time doing it. And Leslie just got to watch the Muppet Movie for the first time, and we got to talk about it the next day. And is there anything better in the world than that? I don't know if there is.
No.
I don't know if there is. Because it's, I don't know, just to be able to experience that for the first time. And I watched it, I was telling somebody last night that we were going to do Muppet Movie today. And what happened and how it was your first time. And it's my friend Adam, who loves the Muppet Movie as much as I do.
Aww.
And Great Muppet Caper. We're completely in lockstep on those two things. And I told him we were doing the Muppet Movie. And I said, I'm really busy, so I'm going to end up watching this in 10-minute chunks. Which is fine, because I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
I could do this movie cold. I could have sat down and talked to you about this movie without watching it today. But why would I want to withhold that joy from myself?
Yeah.
Watching this movie feels so good. Why would I want to not do that?
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I put it on and I watched it in 10-minute chunks. It makes you feel so good all the way through, and it's funny and so silly, and
kind of sounds like the perfect day.
I mean, the things that were happening around it were less ideal, but man, this movie is good, and I'm so glad I watched it. But I could have done this cold. I could have mentioned every line that I mentioned to you, because I use them daily.
Wow.
They're just, they're things that I quote constantly. And sometimes I have to explain them to people, but that's true a lot for me.
I feel like I often have to explain. Yeah.
I frequently am. I mean, anyone who's listened to any episodes of this understands that what I just said is true. I have to explain my references, because not everyone's going to get all of them. There's just no way that's going to happen, and that's okay with me.
Now, it's great if I'm with my mom and then we get going on a tangent, like,
Uh
because we'll do all of Pretty Woman for you. We'll do
huh.
all of You've Got Mail. Like,
Nice.
it's pretty crazy, and like she'll quote lines back to me that I did in Beauty and the Beast that she loves,
Uh huh.
and it's just so adorable.
Crazy old Maurice. Mm.
Not
Crazy
that one,
old
but sure.
Maurice. Mm. That's one of my
She
favorites because they like ruminate on how crazy Maurice is.
she
Mm.
loves so that's the West Wing.
Ha ha ha.
That's
Very
one of her
nice.
favorites.
I like it. That's where President
Oh.
Bartlett lives.
I know, right?
So, what is this, the EST for you? What ESTs do you have for this?
Oh my god. It's the cutest. It's the
Really is.
sweetest. It's the
It is.
sweetest.
It's very sweet. Yeah.
Like,
Um,
do we have
but
many other Hollywood movies out there that are just this sweet and
yeah,
lovely? No.
I think it goes beyond that. I think this is the purest movie.
I I was thinking that too, but I feel
Yeah.
like I've said pure enough to be a drinking game at this point.
I just think it is pure of heart. It is pure of intention. It is starry eyed.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I mean, life's like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing. Keep pretending. We've done just what we set out to do. Thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you. That's so great.
Oh my god.
It's
It's
the way
so beautiful.
that's the way the movie ends. It's the whole point. It's gorgeous. I love it so much. I love
I'm
it so much.
starting to feel like the sweetest men became like I feel like there was a trend of truly kind men, very few and far between, but I mean, you look at Fred Rogers, Bob Ross, Jim
Uh-huh.
Henson.
Yep.
I know that's only 3, but it's a solid
Uh-huh.
number of nice white dudes in a slew of horrible white dudes.
Right.
Like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just there's a wonderfulness to this movie that can't be discussed. And it's so funny. I mean, like,
Myth,
I don't know.
myth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when I was a kid, do you know how many times I wanted to like attach my Kermit to the ceiling fan and turn it on so he could spin around the room like that? It's so great.
One of my favorite vines is someone showing a clip of a kid singing the ABCs with Kermit and saying
Yeah.
ABC Cookie Monster, and then you just see him jump out of a building.
Yeah. It's very cute.
Shout out to Vine.
Yeah. And I will take that car for $11.95. Less our $12 trade in. You owe us a nickel.
I know, when you first texted me that, I thought, oh, okay.
That's such a funny joke. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
they bought a car for $12 because Jack smacked a fly. And
Oh,
and Madman Moody, he had to honor it because the price you see is the price you pay. Not a penny more, not a penny less. He's an honest used car salesman. And that's why we watch this movie. Again, proving my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling. So I think we did it. I think we talked about the Muppet Movie.
Oh my
I'm so
god.
happy. I feel
Me too.
I'm floating right now. It's
I
pretty
mean,
wonderful.
I had therapy before this, and now this. Like,
It's a good
I
way.
don't know. It's a good night. It's a good night.
Yeah. So next week, Boozemeisters, we are going to be watching, unless there's some crazy technology glitch and we can't figure out how to do it, in which case we pivot and watch The Great Muppet Caper.
Muppet movies just become our backup.
Yeah. It's not going to fit next week, I don't think. But next week, in conjunction with Season 2, Episode 7, Camping Trip, and in honor of Brandon dangling from the ledge, we're gonna
In honor
watch.
of Brandon's shoe.
That's right, Brandon's poor shoe. We're gonna watch Cliffhanger, a movie neither one of us have seen. So
All
that
right.
ought to be a whole different kind of entertaining. I
We're
don't
gonna have to
imagine.
start. No, go ahead.
No, I was saying I don't imagine I'm going to tear up talking about Cliffhanger.
No, I was gonna say I feel like we're gonna need to start looking up and make sure we can find these. Streaming is not as reliable as we thought.
We've only had one issue, you know.
That's true, but you missed out on the best, most beautiful sex scene with the weirdest arms at the very end.
Oh shit! I gotta figure
It's not the best, most beautiful, but it's ballerinas, so like obviously they choreographed it and it looked lovely.
Yeah, Cliffhanger is totally available for rent on any number of streaming platforms.
Fantastic.
So we're in good shape. We probably should look that up and tell people so that they can watch along with us.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
So there you go, guys. Next week, Cliffhanger. So give it a watch between now and then, and it'll be fresh in your head when we talk about how much I love Janine Turner from Northern Exposure, who is in this movie and is our spelling connection.
Probably how indifferent I will be. I don't know. I may like it.
I don't think I'm going to like the movie, but I love Janine Turner.
Oh, okay. I'll find something to like.
Yeah, it's it's going to be a cliffhanger. So thumbs up for that.
No.
All right. Well, until then, Boozemeisters.
Cheers.
Cheers.